The day I lost my legs was the day I lost my life. Before the accident, I was Adam Cartwright, the guy with a bright future and endless possibilities. But in one moment, all of that was taken away. I remember waking up in the hospital, groggy and confused. My mother sat beside me, her eyes swollen and red from crying. She tried to smile, but I could see the despair in her eyes. "It's going to be okay, Adam," she said, her voice trembling. "We'll get through this together." But I knew better. The doctors had told me that I would never walk again. I didn't just lose my legs that day, I lost my freedom, my dreams, and my identity. I was no longer the person I used to be. The world seemed to shrink around me, and the weight of my new reality was crushing. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. I withdrew from everyone and everything. I stopped seeing my friends, dropped out of university, and refused to leave the house. My mother tried her best to keep me engaged, but I was too far gone. I was trapped in a dark place, consumed by depression and self-pity. The thought of ending it all crossed my mind more than once, but I didn't have the courage to go through with it. My only solace was the park near our house. My mother would wheel me there, hoping that the fresh air and change of scenery might lift my spirits. It didn't. I would sit in the most secluded spot I could find, burying myself in books to escape my reality. I didn't want to talk to anyone or be around people who would pity me. One particularly gloomy afternoon, as the sky threatened rain, my mother wheeled me to my usual spot under the large oak tree. The leaves rustled in the wind, and the scent of impending rain filled the air. I opened my book, ready to lose myself in a world far from my own. "Adam, are you sure you don't want me to stay with you today?" my mother asked, her voice tinged with worry. "I'll be fine, Mom," I replied, not looking up from my book. "Just pick me up in an hour." She sighed, squeezing my shoulder gently before leaving. As I immersed myself in the pages, I heard a voice that broke through my concentration. "Hi there." A cheerful voice called out. I looked up, ready to give my usual rude response to whoever dared to invade my solitude. But when I saw her, the words got stuck in my throat. She was a young girl, maybe 12 or 13, and she was in a wheelchair just like me. But unlike me, she was smiling. "Hi," I managed to say, taken aback by her cheerful demeanor. "I've seen you here before," she said, wheeling herself closer. "My name's Sarah. What's yours?" "Adam," I replied, still trying to process her unexpected friendliness. "Nice to meet you, Adam," she said with a bright smile. "I was a bit nervous to come over and say hi, but you didn't look so angry today." I couldn't help but grin. "Yeah, I guess today is a good day." We started talking, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a connection. Sarah told me about her passion for dancing and how she ended up in a wheelchair. "It happened when I was 8, she said, her eyes sparkling with determination. "I was diagnosed with a rare spinal condition. The doctors said I might never walk again, but I refused to give up hope. I still dance in my dreams." Her optimism was infectious. For the first time since my accident, I felt a glimmer of hope. If Sarah could find a reason to smile and keep fighting, maybe I could too. Our conversations became a regular thing, and slowly but surely, I started to feel alive again. One day, after weeks of our growing friendship, Sarah asked me a question that struck a chord deep within me. "Adam, what did you love to do before the accident?" she asked, her eyes filled with genuine curiosity. I paused, thinking back to a time that seemed like a lifetime ago. "I loved running," I admitted, a pang of sorrow hitting me. "I was on the university track team. I felt free when I ran, like nothing could hold me back." Sarah nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Maybe you can't run anymore, but there are other ways to feel that freedom. Have you ever thought about trying new things?" I shrugged, not really convinced. "I don't know. It feels like nothing will ever be the same." "Things might not be the same," she agreed, "but that doesn't mean they can't be good. We just have to find new ways to live, new dreams to chase." Her words lingered in my mind long after our conversation ended. For the first time since my accident, I began to consider the possibility that maybe, just maybe, life could still hold some joy for me. If Sarah could keep dreaming and finding new ways to live, perhaps I could too. And so, the first seeds of change were planted, nurtured by the hope and resilience of a young girl who refused to let her circumstances define her. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself looking forward to our talks more and more. Little did I know, they were the beginning of a transformation that would eventually lead me out of the darkness and into a new chapter of my life. Meeting Sarah was like a breath of fresh air, a sudden burst of light in the darkness that had consumed my life. Her optimism and determination were contagious, and for the first time since my accident, I felt a spark of hope. Our conversations became the highlight of my days, and I began to see a glimmer of possibility in my future. One sunny afternoon, we met at our usual spot under the oak tree. The park was bustling with activity, children playing, couples walking hand in hand, and the distant sound of laughter filling the air. It was the kind of day that once would have filled me with joy and excitement. Now, it served as a backdrop for my burgeoning hope. Sarah wheeled up to me, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Adam, guess what? I've got some great news." I looked at her, curious. "What is it?" "My mom found a rehabilitation program in the city that offers dance therapy for people with disabilities. It's designed to help improve mobility and overall well-being," she explained, her enthusiasm palpable. "I'm going to join, and I thought you might want to come with me." I hesitated. The idea of trying something new was both thrilling and terrifying. "Dance therapy? I don't know, Sarah. I mean, I'm not exactly a dancer." Sarah laughed, a sound that was quickly becoming one of my favorites. "Neither am I, but it's not about dancing perfectly. It's about finding joy in movement, no matter how small. Besides, it could be fun, and it's a chance for us to try something new together." I could see the hope in her eyes, and I felt a surge of determination. "All right, I'll give it a try." The first session was challenging. As I wheeled into the rehabilitation center, I felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. The room was spacious, with large mirrors covering one wall and a wooden floor that gleamed in the sunlight. There were a few other participants, all in wheelchairs or using various aids, and the instructor, a lively woman named Clara, greeted us warmly. "Welcome, everyone. Today is about exploring movement and connecting with our bodies in new ways," Clara said, her voice full of encouragement. "Let's start with some gentle stretches." Sarah and I followed Clara's lead, and I found myself easing into the movements. The music was soft and soothing, creating a calming atmosphere. As the session progressed, I felt my body loosening up, and for the first time in months, I experienced a sense of liberation. "You're doing great, Adam," Sarah whispered, her smile lighting up her face. "Thanks, Sarah," I replied, feeling a warmth in my chest. "I think I'm actually enjoying this." The weeks went by, and we continued attending the dance therapy sessions. Each time, I felt myself growing stronger, not just physically but emotionally as well. The movements, the music, and the camaraderie with others in the group began to heal the wounds that had been festering inside me. One evening after a particularly invigorating session, Sarah and I sat under the oak tree, watching the sunset. The sky was a canvas of oranges, pinks, and purples, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a sense of peace. "Adam, have you thought about what you want to do in the future?" Sarah asked, breaking the comfortable silence. I took a deep breath, considering her question. "Honestly, I haven't thought much beyond just getting through each day. But now, I feel like maybe there could be something more." Sarah nodded, her expression thoughtful. "You know, you have a lot of potential. You're smart, determined, and kind. You could do anything you set your mind to." I smiled, feeling a rush of gratitude. "Thanks, Sarah. I guess I need to start figuring out what that something more is." She reached over and took my hand, her grip firm and reassuring. "And I'll be here to support you, just like you supported me. We're in this together." Her words filled me with a renewed sense of purpose. For so long, I had been focused on what I had lost, but now, with Sarah by my side, I began to see what I still had and what I could achieve. Our friendship had become a lifeline, pulling me out of the darkness and into the light. As the days turned into weeks, I started exploring new interests. I took online courses in marketing and business, finding a surprising passion for digital marketing. The work was challenging and stimulating, and it gave me a sense of accomplishment that I had been missing for so long. One afternoon, I shared my progress with Sarah. "I've been taking some online classes," I said, a hint of pride in my voice. "I'm learning about digital marketing, and it's actually really interesting." Sarah's eyes lit up. "That's amazing, Adam. I'm so proud of you. You're really starting to find your path." "Thanks to you," I replied, feeling a swell of emotion. "I don't know where I'd be without your encouragement." Sarah smiled, squeezing my hand. "We're a team, Adam. We lift each other up." With Sarah's support, I continued to push myself, both physically and mentally. I started setting goals and working towards them, no longer content to merely exist. I wanted to thrive, to make the most of the life I had been given. One day, after a particularly successful dance therapy session, Clara approached me. "Adam, I've noticed a remarkable change in you since you first started. Your strength and determination are truly inspiring." I felt a surge of pride and gratitude. "Thank you, Clara. These sessions have made a huge difference for me." Clara smiled warmly. "I'm glad to hear that. Keep pushing yourself, and remember, the only limits are the ones we set for ourselves." Her words resonated deeply with me. I realized that I had been holding myself back, letting fear and self-doubt dictate my actions. But now, with Sarah's unwavering support and the progress I had made, I felt ready to break free from those limitations. As I wheeled home that evening, I felt a sense of optimism that I hadn't felt in years. The darkness that had once consumed me was starting to lift, replaced by a flicker of hope that grew stronger with each passing day. I knew there would still be challenges ahead, but for the first time, I felt equipped to face them. Sarah had sparked something within me, a flame that burned brighter with each new accomplishment. Our journey was far from over, but I was no longer afraid of what lay ahead. With hope in my heart and determination in my soul, I was ready to embrace whatever the future held. Months had passed since I first met Sarah, and my life had taken a turn I never thought possible. With each day, I grew stronger, both physically and emotionally. My progress was undeniable, but a lingering question always haunted me: could I have healed if I had known the truth sooner? One evening, after an invigorating dance therapy session, I received a call from my mother. She had been distant since the accident, and our conversations were often brief and strained. This call felt different. There was a sense of urgency in her voice. "Adam, we need to talk. Can you come over tomorrow?" she asked, her tone serious. "Sure, Mom. I'll be there in the afternoon," I replied, curiosity piqued. The next day, I wheeled myself to my childhood home. Memories flooded back as I approached the house, the good times before the accident, the laughter, the love. My mother greeted me at the door, her face etched with worry. "Adam, come in. There's something I need to tell you," she said, leading me to the living room. I settled into a chair, my heart pounding. "What is it, Mom?" She took a deep breath, her eyes filled with tears. "Adam, I've been keeping something from you. After your accident, the doctors told me there was a chance you could walk again with the right treatment and therapy. But I was so afraid. Afraid of giving you false hope, afraid of seeing you struggle and fail." I stared at her, stunned. "You knew I had a chance to recover? All this time?" She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, Adam. I thought I was protecting you, but I see now that I was wrong. I should have told you the truth." Anger and hurt surged through me. "You kept this from me for years. Do you have any idea what that did to me? The despair, the hopelessness. I could have been working towards recovery all this time." "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. I was scared. I didn't want to see you get hurt. I took a deep breath, trying to process the flood of emotions. "It's too late now, isn't it?" "No, Adam," she said, her voice firm. "It's not too late. You've made so much progress on your own. With the right help, You could still improve. I wanted to be angry, to hold on to the betrayal I felt, but something in her eyes stopped me. I saw the regret, the guilt, and the love she had for me. Slowly, I felt my anger dissipate, replaced by a determination to keep moving forward. I need time to process this, I said finally. But I won't give up. Not now, not ever. She nodded, relief washing over her face. I understand. And I want to help you, in any way I can. I left my mother's house with a heavy heart, but also a renewed sense of purpose. I had been wronged, but I wouldn't let it define me. I had come too far to turn back now. That evening, I met Sarah at our usual spot under the oak tree. The setting sun cast a warm glow over the park, and I felt a sense of calm wash over me as I wheeled up to her. "Sarah, there's something I need to tell you," I began, my voice steady. She looked at me with concern. "What is it, Adam?" I recounted the conversation with my mother, the truths she had kept hidden, and the mix of emotions I felt. Sarah listened intently, her expression sympathetic. "Adam, I'm so sorry you had to go through that," she said, reaching out to hold my hand. "But I'm proud of you for not letting it break you. You're one of the strongest people I know." "Thanks, Sarah," I replied, squeezing her hand. "I couldn't have come this far without you. You've been my rock, my inspiration." She smiled, her eyes shining with emotion. "And you'll continue to inspire others, Adam. Your journey is far from over." Her words filled me with a renewed sense of determination. I knew there would be challenges ahead, but I was ready to face them. With Sarah by my side and the truth finally out in the open, I felt empowered to take control of my future. In the weeks that followed, I focused on my rehabilitation with a new intensity. I sought out specialized therapy, pushing my limits and exploring new treatments. My progress was slow but steady, and I felt a sense of accomplishment with each small victory. One afternoon, during a particularly challenging therapy session, I felt a breakthrough. As I concentrated on a difficult movement, I suddenly felt a connection between my mind and body that had eluded me for so long. I managed to stand, albeit briefly, supported by my therapist. "You're doing great, Adam," my therapist said, her voice filled with encouragement. "Keep pushing yourself. You're stronger than you think." As I returned home that evening, exhausted but exhilarated, I thought about how far I had come. The truth my mother had hidden could have destroyed me, but instead, it had fueled my determination. I was no longer a victim of my circumstances, I was a survivor, a fighter. That night, I called my mother. "Mom, I just wanted you to know that I'm making progress. I'm working harder than ever, and I'm not giving up. I'm so proud of you, Adam," she replied, her voice choked with emotion. "I believe in you." Her words meant more to me than I could express. I knew our relationship would take time to heal, but I was willing to work on it. Just as I was willing to work on myself, to strive for a better future. With Sarah's unwavering support and the truth finally revealed, I felt a renewed sense of hope. My journey was far from over, but I was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The darkness that had once consumed me was fading, replaced by a light that grew stronger with each passing day. I was determined to keep moving forward, to build a life filled with purpose and possibility. If you like this story, please subscribe, like, click the bell, and leave a comment. Thank you in advance.